Hi, everyone, and welcome to this month's For Advisors Only. I'm Christine Beck, and I'm the Organizational Director with the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. And today is Monday, May 26th, and today we're going to be talking about action planning, but I also want to share the Alliance's website and where some resources are housed. So as you are getting back to community day services, or perhaps your self-advocacy group is just starting to get back together because people are feeling better, because people are getting vaccinated. However that works for you, we just want to make sure that you are prepared as you move forward with your self-advocacy. So thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's make sure I'm doing it properly. Sometimes it happens well and sometimes it doesn't. So, and if you have any questions, please feel free to speak up and speak out. There you go. Thank you. Okay, so I hope everybody can see my screen. If you are not able to see my screen, go ahead and let me know. You can shout out, however it is you let me know. But the first thing we are going to talk about is action planning. And when we were thinking about what to share for this particular For Advisors Only, we thought what information would be useful. And we further thought that everybody is starting to get back together and maybe coming together around a meeting or activity or event would be an exciting way to get everybody kind of back into the swing of things in terms of self-advocacy. So what you see on your screen is a blank action plan for a meeting or event. Could be for an activity as well too. But action plans really just help everybody to brainstorm and put information down so that we have some steps and everybody is involved in the process. So up at the top, you would put your meeting or event name, and then there are spaces for what to do, who's going to do it, what is the estimated date that you want it done, and then any notes. And so for each activity or event, you would just have folks brainstorm what are all the different steps. And as advisors, sometimes you have to help people think through the steps because we want to get right to the activity or event, don't we? But we do have to begin with the end in mind. And so one of the ways that you could approach this is, well, first you have to, as a group, decide what is going to be your meeting or event that you want to action plan for. So everybody has to decide on that. And then we start asking ourselves the questions of, so how is this going to get done? And it may be best to either have a whiteboard with some some markers, erasable markers. Maybe you have some big Post-it paper. And so everybody is just kind of giving ideas and sharing their ideas for what it could take to plan a meeting or event. And remember, all ideas are good ideas. They may not work out for this meeting or event, but we don't want to discourage anybody from speaking up and speaking out, because at the basis of action planning is self-advocacy, and that's what we're here for. So again, you want to put all those wonderful ideas up. And then as an advisor or ally, you might want to start thinking through, okay, so what would we do first? And kind of going through some of the steps that we would have to do first. And then once you have your what you need to do, really thinking through who's going to do it. And I would say that everybody needs to have a part in the plan. Everybody should, who wants to see their name up there, should see their name on the plan. And maybe it's something that someone can do independently. Maybe it's something that people do as a team. Perhaps it's something that someone could do with your support. But think of the different ways we can empower people to do those tasks and do those steps. And then we want to have some dates put to it. Otherwise, sometimes I know in my own life, things may not happen if I don't give myself a target date or a deadline. And then any notes you might have that's going to help maybe with your memory or just help you to fulfill that step. So I'd like to share a couple of sample action plans with you. And these come from our Alliance Ambassador Leadership Program, our training manuals. And I will put in a shameless plug that we are going to be having another facilitator training for the Alliance Ambassador Leadership Program coming up in June. So be watching for information coming up not only in our newsletters, but also in our email listserv. All right, so I hope you can see this. So this is a sample action plan for a meeting or event. And the meeting or event name is Meeting the Candidates Running for Mayor. All right. Now, not all the spaces are filled in because, again, this is a sample, but you would want to make sure that in as much as possible, spaces are filled in. So when we think about how do we do this event? Well, one of the things we have to think about, we have to make a budget. And some of the notes are, do you even have money to hold an event? But it's okay if you don't have money. We're going to talk about that. If you don't have money, who can you ask for money? And then also make a list of what you need the money for. So a lot of times, if we have to go ask for money, maybe we go to the board of directors at an agency or organization, or maybe we go to a director of a program. And if we say, we'd like to put on this event and we're going to need $100, the person is probably going to ask us, well, what do you need the money for? So that's why we need a budget. We can't just say, well, we need to buy some things. Usually someone's going to say, well, I'm going to need to see a budget for that. And if you already have your action plan created, then you can share that as well. So here's a note. Even if you don't have money, you can still hold an event. You might need to look for free space, not have any refreshments, or otherwise plan for no cost. So I'm going to open this up to you right now. So just imagine your group wants to hold a event about meeting the candidates running for mayor of your local municipality, but you don't have money. You've asked the board, they say no money. You've asked the director, no money, but you really want to do it. Where could you find free space in your community? And I'm not able to see people, so if you want to take yourself off of mute and identify who you are and give us your idea, that'd be wonderful. So where could you find free space in your community?
Local library.
Yes, local libraries, especially if your agency or organization is within that town. But I have also scheduled events at libraries where I don't live, but they wanted some information. And so you might have to go fill out a form, but yes, thank you, local library. Great. What's another location you might be able to ask for free space?
Churches?
Churches, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of us are connected with faith communities, and maybe your church would have space for an event. What's another place?
A restaurant, maybe, because they can give you the drinks and other food that you would want to provide for the speaker.
All right. Yeah. So you could ask a restaurant, especially if it's a restaurant maybe that you frequent a lot. I think we have to practice ask, and I really like these ideas. So a restaurant, I know other places might be a park. Sometimes they have pavilions that are free for people who live within the municipality, or a community center. One of the things I will add is if you are going to have an event, whether it's at a restaurant or at a church or a library or a park or community center, make sure it is accessible so that everybody can get in there who wants to get in there. All right. So got to make that budget. All right. So the next thing we have to do is we have to pick a date and time. And sometimes this is difficult. We definitely want to make sure that we meet the candidates running for mayor before the election, right? Because after the election, it's all done for. But some of the things to think of: when will most people be able to attend? Do you have it during the day? Do you have it during the night? Do you have it during the weekday or weekend? And if you are asking people for free space, they may tell you this is the only day and time we have available. So you can see that some of these tasks kind of impact each other. Another step is to find and schedule a location. So we talked about that as it relates to free space. And space must be accessible, including the restrooms, especially if it's a larger space and you're going to have more than one or two people, which I hope your event is very popular. You really need a microphone and speakers. So why do you think it's important when you're having an event to have a microphone and speakers? And anybody can chime in.
So you be heard in the room.
Yeah, so you can be heard in the room. Thank you. Yes, people want to speak up. The people who are the candidates for mayor, they want to hear the questions. They want people to be able to hear the answers. So having a microphone and speakers is really nice. And a lot of times libraries will have that. Churches may have that. So again, thinking through who might have what we need, right? Another thing about the location, is it easy for people using public transportation to get to? So if it is 4 or 5 blocks away from the bus stop, that might be kind of hard for people, right? Also consider, does it have chairs and tables? Especially if you're going to have refreshments, you might want to make sure that there's some tables that people can set their refreshments on. And then the final maybe question to consider: how many people does the location hold? So if you want to hold an event of meeting the candidates for mayor, what do you think? How many people do you think a place should hold? What's a good idea about that? Like more than 10, more than 20, more than 50?
I would say right now also we're taking COVID considerations. So
Yes.
the place might have their own policy of how many you could have or
thank you.
distancing.
Yes. Thank you. I hadn't even thought about that. So yes, really understanding kind of where we are in the whole our life with COVID, right? And so maybe what you consider is having this event, but doing it on the computer. Maybe it's doing it on Zoom or another platform. And that way we can still do it and be safe, right? And then probably don't have to have refreshments. All right. So another task, now you have to invite the candidates running for mayor. They're not just going to show up because you have a flyer. You have to actually ask them to come. And a good rule of thumb is invite the candidates at least 3 weeks before the event so that they can put it on their calendars. And even though you invite people, sometimes people won't show up, but you still have the event with the candidates who do show up, and then they get their message out. Some of the notes include, so how are you going to contact the candidates? Do you call them on the phone? Do you send them an email? Does the group or one person representing your group write a letter? Do you pay them a personal visit? And again, thanks for that reminder about COVID, that sometimes people aren't available for a personal visit. Then one of the steps is refreshments. We all like to go to meetings and events and have refreshments, right? At least I know I do. So is there a budget for refreshments? Again, if you're doing an event and you have no money, maybe what you tell people is you can bring in your own snacks or you can bring in your own beverages. If you do have money and you can provide some refreshments, make sure that you have some sugar-free options, maybe even gluten-free, because we know people who need sugar-free or gluten-free, and maybe some softer options for people who want something a little bit softer to eat. And then maybe there's a committee who orders or shops for refreshments and supplies. Remember, one of the goals is that everybody who wants to play a part in the action plan is able to play a part in the action plan. All right. Then we get down to how are we going to let people know about the event? Are we going to make flyers? Are we going to mail things out? Well, it might be hard to mail if we don't have any money. Are we going to make posters? Are we going to use Facebook or Twitter? And then who's going to create that information? Is that an opportunity for a smaller group? Because we know the more people we have involved, the harder it can be to make some final decisions. So having some smaller groups. Then we want to create an invite list. We want everybody we know to be invited, right? And so maybe there's other self-advocacy groups in your area you can invite, or there's different agencies or schools or local legislators. Certainly invite friends and family, maybe neighbors and local business representatives. Anybody in your community has a stake in who's going to be the mayor. That's a really important role. You also want to advertise for the event. And let's see. So the day of the event, some kind of tasks or some notes. We love having greeters and welcomers. There is nothing better than going to a meeting or event or activity and being greeted by wonderful people with smiles and them saying, I'm so glad you're here. And you probably know who your greeters are. Assign a person to introduce the candidates, assign a person to introduce question and answer time, and assign a person or a couple of people to close the event and thank everybody for being there. Then we want to make sure that we mail a card to the candidates who attended. They are going to remember that. And so as a group, or maybe as a smaller little committee, mail a card and say, thank you for coming to our event. And we wish you well in the election or something like that. Remember, Relationships are important. And one of the people, hopefully, that attends your event is going to be the next mayor. And what a wonderful relationship to start when you want to go and advocate for other things. Then bringing it back to your group and sharing, how did this event go? What went well? What didn't go well? What would you change? And we can all find things that went well, and we can all find things that should be changed the next time we do it. That's just how we learn, right? All right. Does anybody have any questions on that action plan? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everyone. All right. Hi, Amy. I'm glad you're here. And here's something really exciting. And I'm going to put Tara on the spot just a little bit. We have Bob, who is here from a self-advocacy member group. Amy, you are part of a member group, yes?
Mute myself here. Yes, I'm an individual advocacy group.
That's right. I always get, I know this is terrible, I get AIG and AID backwards, too many initials.
Oh,
And
I get it all the time.
Yes.
They're like, oh, you're that company that sells insurance? And no, nothing like that.
Sure, yeah. I'm selling self-advocacy. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
And we know Adam is with a member group and Jessica's with a member group. So Tara, would you be willing to give a sneak preview to our member groups about something that's going to be coming out really soon and is going to involve an action plan?
Yeah. So we are actually going to be doing mini grants, which is something that we've done before historically with the Alliance. Several years ago, we gave small grants to member groups who submitted an application. And so we're going to be doing that again. We've got some money put away that we are really jazzed and excited to disperse. So basically, member groups can come up with an idea that has to do with self-advocacy, legislation, transition, anything of that sort. So we're looking to get some ideas from folks and help them develop action plans around those ideas, and the Alliance will pay up to $500, which is great. So the purpose of this is to re-engage groups. We know that COVID is, as Amy mentioned, that's really kind of put a wrench in a lot of the work that we're doing. So hopefully this will start to re-energize our member groups and help people get back to the new normal.
Thank you for that sneak peek. Be looking for that information to come to your email within the next day. Yes, and I want to say that the projects have to be finished up maybe mid-September, but it will say that on the application. So we are just really excited. Like Tara said, we just want to get everybody excited about self-advocacy again and working together for a project. And we hope that this is something that helps out. All right. Would you like to look at another action plan? Or do you feel like, you know what, I got it going on? What you think? This is audience participation.
Yeah, I don't mind seeing another action plan.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen. So let me move this a little bit out of the way. Okay. There goes that one. All right. No, that's that. All right. So maybe people don't want to meet the mayors. And we really encourage folks or self-advocacy groups to make sure that their agency or organization knows who they are. I don't know how many times I have gotten a call, or maybe Jay Jin or Noel or Tara, to say, hey, we're looking for a self-advocate or something to do something at our agency. And we've said, are you aware that your agency has a self-advocacy group? And it was like news to them, right? So maybe something that the group wants to do is to meet with the board of directors. And I think it's important that people understand who are some folks in power and control of an agency or organization. That doesn't mean that people have power and control over them, but they are charged with running the agency and the direction of the agency. And who better to inform the board of directors about the direction that the agency should go than the self-advocates who receive services. So here we go. This is a sample action plan for meeting or event. And the particular meeting or event is self-advocacy group meeting with the board of directors of an agency or organization. So before I go ahead, and again, I cannot see your individual pictures because I'm sharing my screen. But is this something that you could imagine doing at your agency? Just give me a yes, or hopefully it's a resounding yes. Maybe it's a I don't really know.
Yes, we could definitely do it at New Star.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And remember, board of directors are changing, maybe not all the time, but board members have a certain term limit. And so the likelihood is if you did this a couple years ago, there are new people on the board. So Amy, how about for you? Is this something you can do at your agency?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Awesome.
Like we do have, as far as location barriers, because we are so spread out across the
Right.
state. Like even for me to get, I'm a 3-hour drive from where they would meet. So I think it would take a little more planning, but definitely doable.
I think it could happen because if you have access to a computer and Zoom, you could have a couple of the self-advocates with you and you could be beamed into the board of directors meeting. Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and we got to think creatively, right? That is, creative is the new normal. Jessica, you think this could work at Futures Unlimited?
Yes.
Awesome. Adam, how about you for Center for Independent Futures?
I do, and I also think Equip for Equality would be another good organization to contact.
Nice. I like how you're thinking, Adam, because, there's a lot of people who need to hear about us and our message. And there's a lot of places that need to hear from self-advocates, right? So you could try it out on your board of directors, and then you could take it to different organizations within your community. Maybe it's some social or civic service organizations. Maybe you take this to transition groups at your high schools. The sky's the limit. So let's look through this action plan. So one of the first things to do is to find out when the board of directors meets. Some boards meet every month, some meet every other month, some meet quarterly. I don't know, but let me ask you this. How could you find out when your board of directors meets? Who could you ask?
Well, any of the administrative staff.
Yeah.
Our CEO is also very approachable. So.
Yeah. So ask some administrative staff, maybe ask some directors. Sometimes if you look at agency or organizations' websites, they may have some information about the board of directors. It may even show pictures of the board members, and they may say when the board of directors meets. So Some of the big information you'll need to know is the date, the time, and the location. And like Amy said, the agency she's with is really spread out. So they may have to think through how could we attend a meeting when they are 3 hours away. But we do have some options and opportunities. All right. The next is ask to attend the board of directors meeting. And you may need to share what the group wants, or may need to say what the group wants to share with the board to be on the agenda. There are times that anybody can attend a meeting, but you might not be able to speak or give any kind of presentation. Sometimes you have to ask beforehand and be put on the agenda. Also, find out if the board allows for visitors, and some do not. But I believe that if it is a not-for-profit, it has to be open for people to attend. Now, they may have some time during the meeting where it is just for the board only, because they have to share some sensitive information that only the board can see or read. But so find out, does the board allow visitors, and how do we get on the agenda? All right. And maybe what I've heard one group do, they found out, I'm sorry, I scrolled back. They found out that the board does allow visitors. So before they even decided that they wanted to share at an upcoming board meeting, they actually went to a board meeting to see what happens. And they came back from that meeting and they said, man, that's really boring. I said, yeah, sometimes it is. So that might be something for you to do as well. All right. So then one of the next steps is decide what the group wants to share with the board of directors. And you should do this before asking to attend the board meeting, because when you ask to attend, maybe the administrator or secretary of the board or someone may say, well, what will you be sharing? And you want to have an answer. Decide if the group wants to share information. Maybe we just want to share information about our self-advocacy group. We want them to know we have a self-advocacy group and all the wonderful things it does. Or does your group have a specific request from the board? And what might a specific request to a board of directors be? What could be some examples of a specific request to the board of directors? And this is for anybody. What kind of
You mean like a proposal? You mean like a proposal, like
Sure.
an item?
Yeah. Maybe it's a proposal that, I don't know. Help us out here, group.
I mean, don't want it to be about money all the time, but I mean, you could, if they have a budget, you could say, hey, can we get,
Yeah. Can we have however much money we want to do this event? Maybe it is a specific request that we really think that the building, we need another building and it should be in another town or something, I'm kind of drawing a blank at what a specific request could be.
or change policy. I don't know. Like,
change some policy.
if we think at the metric for COVID numbers, we could say, oh, can we start opening up the community program again? Or
Nice. Yeah, so anything that would need to rise to the level of the board. Maybe it's about money, maybe it's about staffing, maybe it's about location. Anything like that, policy, procedure. And then the last stop point, find out if the board has the ability and authority to make the change being asked. Sometimes there are things that are beyond the board of directors' control. Maybe it's the Division of Developmental Disabilities, maybe it's the state fire marshal, maybe there's specific rules and regulations. But part of developing an action plan is doing some research. And again, we want to make sure everybody who wants to play a part is seeing their name on this plan and is indeed playing that part. So then we want to decide on who's going to attend the meeting. Now you might have a group of 30 people and all 30 people want to attend, but that might not be the best way to approach it. Maybe
Split it up.
There you go. Thank you. Split it up. Or even finding out from whomever how many people are allowed to attend. Again, maybe they're meeting in person, but there's still this 6-foot social distancing going on. So there's not a whole lot of space for a whole lot of extra people. And if all group members can't attend, what if only a few people attend? How much space is in the meeting room for extra people to attend? But here's a question, and you guys are all part of groups, right? Either you're a member or an advisor, an ally. How do you decide if you can only pick, or if not pick, that was not the right word. You have 30 active members and there's only room for 4 to attend. How is that decision made? What are the options here?
Maybe
You
have a vote.
Okay, you can have a
Or
vote.
do it, or see if they can do a Zoom.
See if you can do a Zoom. Okay, I like that.
I mean, my suggestion would be, as in terms of voting, have everybody pick the top 3 candidates, and then under the assumption they're going to pick themselves as number 1, you just pick the one that's number 2 most, the highest number 2s.
So yeah, doing some kind of ranking, or, putting names in a box, drawing names out of a hat. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And perhaps this is an opportunity that, maybe every board meeting for the next however many board meetings, everybody's going to get an opportunity to attend and present. All right, let's look at the next one. So practice what will be presented during the board meeting. And I cannot say enough how important it is to practice, because I know that I've practiced, but I've gotten to the actual event and then all of a sudden I forget everything I wanted to say. So practice, and some of the notes include, is any support needed? And if support is needed, great, give the support. We are not looking for people who can do everything independently. We are looking for people who have an interest in wanting to speak up and speak out and to present. And then, how is the information best presented? Is it in words? Is it using pictures? And will you give board members any handouts or information? It's always a great idea to leave people with information, whether it's information about your self-advocacy group or information about the changes that you are proposing. And then here we are, it's the day of the meeting. Bring all prepared materials you need, or if you're doing Zoom, maybe you get them to the location beforehand. Dress professionally, even if you are on Zoom. I'm sure we've all heard stories about people who are business up top and party on the bottom, right? Stick to the time assigned by the board. So if the board says you have 5 minutes, make sure you're only doing 5 minutes. Always thank the board for their time, or any group that you're presenting to. Thank you so much for having us today. Leave your self-advocacy group contact information and get the board contact information so you could follow up. And then at your next self-advocacy meeting, talk about it. This is, just kind of debriefing any activity or event is really important. What went well? What didn't go well? What would you change? And that's how we learn. So one other thing that I wanted to share with everybody today is, can you see my screen? It is our Alliance website. Is everybody able to see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So again, as you are journeying back to whatever your new normal is going to be and what it will become, just know that the Alliance is a resource. Certainly, we've talked about action planning, but as you get into having meetings, maybe you're looking for some particular resources. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of the resources that you may or may not have seen that may be helpful. So I'm going to scroll down. If you get kind of dizzy as things are scrolling, just look away for a moment and I'll let you know when I'm where I want to be. And if you haven't checked out our website, what are you waiting for? Check us out. All right, so I'm going to click on resources, and here is where you will find a lot of resources. And so I'm going to scroll down. Here's a new resource that was developed, and it's called Supported Decision Making. And supported decision making is an alternative to guardianship, although supported decision making is not recognized legally in Illinois. We currently have guardianship as we know it in Illinois. But I like to say that many of us participate in supported decision making, right? Because when we have a decision to make, we're probably asking the people that know us and love us and the people that we trust to give us some input. So that's what the supported decision making is. And there is some movement to recognize supported decision making in Illinois. So we came up with this fact sheet. And it just goes through what supported decision making is and what is an identified supporter and how it works and how it happens. All right, I'm going to move away from that one to share some others that I really like. We have a lot on the healthy relationships and sexuality that is coming out with the Division of Developmental Disabilities, and many of your agencies and organizations will be participating in that. We've got legislative advocacy. Let's see, there's a lot of things we have around COVID. Let's see. Here's self-advocacy groups taking care of business. So many of you are doing online meetings, and maybe this is a resource that could benefit you on taking care of that business of online meetings. So what kind of platforms, advanced planning, having a productive online meeting. How many of you are currently holding online meetings? If you are, say me, I am, we are.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
Oh, okay. And it's been exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it comes with challenges too, right? So that's a great resource. Here's another great resource. And we came out with this a long time ago, and then it got updated. And so I know we have had some new advisors come on board. And if this is something that you have not seen or haven't seen in a while, I'd like to reintroduce you to this. This is the Self-Advocacy Leadership Manual. It is available electronically online under our resources. I'm going to go through to this real quick. But if you would like, I shouldn't have said but, I should have said, and if you would like a hard copy of this, we can send that to you. Just let me know. Let me know. Yes, Christine, I would love a hard copy of this self-advocacy leadership manual. No matter if you're just starting a group, if your group's been going strong, if your group is struggling, no matter where you are in that journey, there is something in the self-advocacy leadership manual that you can use. But it goes through self-advocacy, spreading the message, recruiting members, your first meeting, leaders in leadership, finding your focus. We have 11 sections. And again, available on our website. And if you would like a hard copy, let me know. We can get that done. I am going to, let's see, here's another great thing that I really would like everybody to be familiar with, because rights are so important. And we have a lot of people who maybe feel like they don't have any rights, or the rights they have are less than the rights that maybe their family members or their support staff or other people in the community have. And we know that's not the case. And so this is I'm going to make it a little smaller so you can see the entire, almost the entire thing. This is the rights of individuals in Medicaid home and community-based services in the waiver. So every year, self-advocates who are receiving services in the waiver program are given a copy of their rights, and they sign that they got a copy and that they understand it. And usually it's when we are pushing papers across a table or a desk and we say, sign here, okay, we got it all done. But a lot of times we don't really understand what we're signing. And that's the case for me. And so what the Alliance did a couple years ago is to take each of those rights and break it down into easier to understand language. So let me show you how it goes. So this is a sample. So you have the name of the right as it would be in the, I don't want to say the real document, but in the document that would be handed to people. It has the name of the right, and it also has the original wording of the right. So everything's the same. So it's name of the right and what it says. So for example, in this one, we're talking about retention of rights. What it says is you maintain all of your legal and civil rights while receiving services. Well, gee, that sounds good, but what in the world does that mean? So we've included what it means. You have rights. The agency who gives you services cannot take away your rights. Oh, okay. I understand that a whole lot better. Then we've included a picture that helps explain visually what the right means. We know that people learn and take in information a lot of different ways, and sometimes a picture works, sometimes a picture and words work. And then underneath the image are some words to describe the picture. So we have used this, or we have included those words. If you are helping people with rights and you don't know how to describe that picture, no worries. We've given you the words to describe the picture. So I'm going to scroll. And again, if you get kind of woozy with stuff going by on the screen quickly, look away for a moment. And let's see, let me pick out something here. All right, we're going to stop on this right. This is about property, and what it says, this is what the right says. You have the right to receive, possess, and use personal property unless it is determined that certain items are harmful to you or others. When you stop receiving services from an agency, all lawful property must be returned to you. Okay, so most people would be scratching their head and saying, not really sure what that means. So this is what it means. My personal things belong to me. These things include my clothing, my electronics, cell phones. My things can only be taken away if they are hurting me or someone else. And if that happens, it will be written in my file. If I leave the agency, I can take all personal things with me. And then it gives some pictures of what personal things might be: clothing, television, cell phone, stereo. So you can see that this is a way to really better explain rights that people have. And I know some self-advocacy groups will take a couple rights and they include them in each of their meetings, just so that we're always keeping rights in front of us, right? Part of being a self-advocate is speaking up and speaking out.
Speaking out.
That's right. And part of the speaking up and speaking out is about rights. We have the right to speak up and speak out. All right. On our website, we also have a lot of webinars, a lot of recorded webinars. You can find those. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so I can see all you beautiful people. We do have a lot of webinars that are recorded, and you are welcome to check those out. We also are having a lot of ongoing trainings now, and I can share a couple with you. So every third Friday of the month, we have something called Relationships on Tap, and that's for self-advocates to join, and we talk about relationships. Because of confidentiality, we do not record that. That is just come as you are, have the conversation, and when it's done, it's done. We also have what you're participating in for advisors only. We on Wednesday, Jay Jin, would you like to give them just a little taste of what's happening on Wednesday evening? If you're there, Jay Jin.
Oh, hi everybody.
Yeah,
sorry,
I
was trying to find the mute button on my
know.
screen.
Isn't that terrible when you get called on? And yeah.
It is. Hi everybody. Yeah. So this this Wednesday, so April is acknowledged as Autism Acceptance Month, and so this Wednesday, the 28th, from 6 to 7 p.m., the Alliance, in partnership with UIC CANS, a self-advocate group, the Chicagoland Disabled People of Color Coalition, Unique Suites, and the Chicagoland Autism Connection Group are hosting a panel discussion entitled Living the Autistic Life, where you will hear from 4 self-advocates who are living with autism, talking about sharing their experiences, about living the autistic life, as well as 2 parents to share their perspective as well. So it'd be great if you're all able to come. And there's a Facebook page, and I'm sure Christine will follow up with more information if you are wanting to attend. So it's this Wednesday at 6.
Yes. And it will be recorded. So if you're unable to attend live, you can almost attend live by watching that recording. And then next month in May, what will we be celebrating, Jay Jin?
Oh, yes. So,
you want these sneak previews, right?
Yeah, no, thank you, Christine. So May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And we're going to be putting together a couple of things where we're going to be recognizing some disability leaders who are also part of the Asian American community and the Pacific Islander community, as well as maybe looking at some kind of a town hall or panel discussion as well for sometime in mid to late. Actually, I think May 25th.
Yes. May 25th from 1 to 2:30. Again, these will all be recorded. We also have coming up in May, on May 11th, Healthy Living Chit Chat, but we have an exciting guest. Jay Jin, do you want to tell everybody who that is?
Yeah, thanks, Christine. So on May 11th, as part of our Healthy Living Chit Chat, will be guest speaker Ryan McGraw, who is in addition to being a leader and activist in the disability rights movement, is also a yoga instructor. So he'll be presenting and talking about giving a good introduction on the basics of yoga, how to start with yoga, and the healthy benefits of movement.
Yeah.
So if you're
So,
available on the 11th, come on by. It's a
yeah.
pleasure.
Yes, I'm ready for the downward dog and the sun salutation. Yes.
That's the one thing about yoga is just the names of the different poses that I just can't quite get around.
You know what? My dog does the downward dog for me quite a bit, but it's usually when she wants a treat. I don't know. Let's see. The Alliance is also making plans. We are in the planning process for a summer rally, which is going to be really exciting. And you'll start to hear more about that information as the time draws closer. I did want to mention that Amy, when we were talking about activities and events and maybe planning for a mayor candidate forum, said, consider partnering with other organizations and brag about your numbers to entice candidates to attend. Yes, they don't want to be missing out. If they say, how many people can you plan on? Don't say 10. Say, how many people does the place hold? That's who we're planning on.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I always refer to, like if I'm setting up a meeting or talking to a local legislator, I don't refer to our group as like individuals or whatnot. No, these are voters in your community,
That's right.
So
Yes. We are your constituents. You work for us.
exactly.
There you go. So you can see we have some really exciting things coming up. And we are glad that you joined us today. And we are going to be thrilled that you will continue to join us for these activities and events. Does anybody have any questions or comments or contributions before we sign off on this Monday?
Anybody doing this going home rally tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. So
yeah.
tomorrow is the going home rally. I know several people are going. Yes, and people are thrilled. So if you're going, I'm going to be looking for you. Yeah.
I'm doing
Yes, you're going. Great, Jessica. I know a lot of people are. Bob, are you
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, we have a bunch going. We got about, I don't know, so far 20 people, but
Yeah, Amy looks like she's nodding. Hillary, anybody from the EPIC Chief Inspiration Officers?
Yes, we have a room reserved here so the people that work in the workshop and are in the classrooms can come up and watch it. We got our t-shirts so we can hand out the t-shirts and
All
so
right.
yeah, for
Yes.
it.
Everybody loves the t-shirt.
Yes.
Yes,
They're
they're
really
super cute.
this year too. I really like them.
Yeah, I
haven't
do
got
too.
mine yet. I'm gonna have to wear maybe one of, well, not last year, maybe a year before's, or my Speak Up and Speak Out t-shirt. Maybe I'll wear my Alliance t-shirt. Who knows? You don't know what you're gonna see me in tomorrow. It'll be a total surprise.
Now everybody's gonna look.
That's right. Look for me. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for Advisors Only. Our next Advisors Only will be on Monday, May 24th from 2 to 3. Not sure what the topic's going to be yet. So if you have any ideas, let me know. If you want to be the star presenter, facilitator on For Advisors Only, let me know that too. All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much
Bye.
for all your
Thank you.
support. We appreciate you.
have a good
Bye.